And speaking of commercials for the organization, there's a gentleman I'd like to introduce now who has a little bit of a passion for what we do, and it's my pleasure to introduce Daniel Betancourt. Many of you know how passionate Dan is about his work at Community First Fund. I can tell you firsthand as a member of the board, Dan works tirelessly to stay focused on the mission. Over the years, he has offered his thoughts on economic justice and the need to continue to advocate for resources to build economic equality in the region. Today, he will share his insights about how Community First Fund's work is still relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our leader, the President and CEO of Community First Fund, Daniel Betancourt.
Thank you, David, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for being here. I honestly don't recall putting videos up like that and seeing the applause that we got today. It made me emotional, I don't know, but we'll be here. But again, congratulations to our awardees. I mean, they're the reason why we really do what we're doing today. You can see how passionate they are about what they do, and you see our board members up here and our staff. This is why we're here, and you're really a reason for that. So again, thank you for being here. Let me acknowledge our three awardees once again. You're really the reason why we're here. It's Hector Ruiz, John Kingsley, and Carlita Montañez. Again, they're the reason why we're doing this. Let me acknowledge the work of our staff and board one more time. Again, they're passionate about the work that we do every day of the year, so thank you. You know, last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary, and you may recall that we talked about our founders, men and women of conviction who got together because they wanted to form a new kind of financial institution, one that would provide loans to people for people that deserve the chance. And these founders were driven by the same purpose that brings us here today. That's to create economic equality for everyone in our communities. I mean, I think it's not a mistake that we have 5 mayors here today among other folks. I mean, I think people understand what we're trying to do, that is to create economic equality here in our communities. And when I think about the challenges that our founders took on, I'm reminded of the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King when he said, "Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase." That is why and how we are here today. Because we're standing on the staircase that our founders built. We climbed 20 steps in 20 years, and now we're at that 21st step. But this is not just any step, it's a landing where we as visionaries can see the next flight of stairs. And by visionaries, I mean each and every one of you in this room today. That may sound daunting, because I know you didn't get in your car today thinking that you're going to be asked to be a visionary. But you know what? I'm asking you to be one, even though you don't see that whole stairway. So to inspire you, I want to share a few stories with you that inspire me every day of the year. You may ask, where does that stairway begin? Well, it begins right here in this room. When you came into this beautiful convention center on your way in, you walked through a downtown that's been more vibrant than it has been in more than two decades. Thank you, Mayor. It's because of people like John Meter who are making a difference in this community. Some years ago, John Meter and I walked 1 block from this convention center on East King Street, and what we saw was a failing neighborhood, vacant buildings. I remember the crime rate was unbelievable. There was drive-by shootings on that block. No one wanted to go there. So John came to us with a vision to rebuild this block. And with some funding from Community First Fund and others, now you can walk along East King Street, again, 1 block from this center, and you can see newly renovated buildings, restaurants, clothing stores, many of which were financed by Community First Fund. So I think we should congratulate John and his partners for the work that they're doing in this community. John, you are helping us build that stairway. Important as buildings are, what's most important about our work is not what we invest in, but in who. It's the people who live there, their sense of entrepreneurship, the American dream, alive and well. You know, really what we're investing in, after all, is human dignity. I mean, you heard the Rev. Bailey talk about it, helping people that really need a chance. That's what inspires me. You know, I also want to share a story with you from Harrisburg, and I was glad to see the Mayor-elect Poppinfoos here. Thank you for being here, Mayor. A few years ago, you may recall that Tyco laid off all of its employees in the Harrisburg region. And you know how tough it is when one family member loses a job. We all came out of a recession, we know that. But imagine when a husband and wife lose their job at the same exact time. That's exactly what happened to Ed and Nora Proctor, who worked at Tyco. They only had a little bit of savings. They had their pride and their dignity, but they also had a sense of entrepreneurship. And the recipe for the best sweet potato pie in the capital region is right here. And I know you know, Mayor, because they're located near you. So they started a bakery, and today and it became so popular, this bakery, it was in the Broad Street Farmers Market. And they had to expand because, again, everyone was buying goods from them, and they moved into Midtown, Harrisburg. And our loan helped them make that move, and now you can see them on the front of your annual report and here on the screen with their delicious baked goods. So again, congratulations, Ed and Nora Proctor. When I talk about the Proctors, that's what I'm talking about when I say it's all about human dignity. That's what builds that stairway, and that's what you've been investing in for the last 20 years in Community First Fund. Let's look at Reading. Just a few years ago, headlines announced that Reading had the highest poverty rate of a city of its size in the nation. Right, Mayor? Not a great accolade. But the mayor got together with his economic development team to develop a plan for the future of Reading, and good things are already happening there. Let me tell you about Fadike Salako, who came here just a few years ago from Nigeria, where she had trained as a pharmacist. Hardworking and inspired, she became the manager of a Rite Aid pharmacy in Berks County. But she realized in her neighborhood, her Oakside neighborhood in Reading, that there was no pharmacy. People couldn't walk down the street and get the needs that they had in terms of medical pharmacy needs and all that. So she came to us with a vision to open up a pharmacy in her neighborhood, and now people can walk down the street and get those needs that they have. And with a loan from us, her vision is now a reality. Yes, it is about human dignity. You can see the pride on her face, because that's really what a loan is. It's about dignity. It's money, of course, but it's much more. Credit is a transaction with a moral lineage. When we invest in money to people like Fadike, what we're investing is in their future, and we understand that she'll make a difference in her community as well. We find hope in every community. A few years ago in the city of York, community leaders got together along with the foundation, and they decided to start a new charter school, but it was a new model for charter schools. It would be one that would focus on high achievement for students every grade from K to 12. And the York Academy Regional Charter School was started. It now has an international baccalaureate program, which the curriculum now rivals any curriculum of a public or private school in the state. Now these students are going to be able to focus on college and be prepared for college starting in kindergarten and first grade. That's what I think is so special about this charter school, and that's what inspires me about their work. The money, the $5 million that we invested in the charter school, came to us, Community First Fund, because we competed for a national program called New Markets Tax Credits. These tax credits are private investments into communities like York, and will provide more opportunities for other communities across the region. You know, I've talked a lot about these examples, but if there's one thing that I want you to remember when you leave here, I want you to know and have an appreciation for what's happening here in Eastern Pennsylvania. Something very special is happening. Eastern Pennsylvania is coming back. In fact, I believe we're leading the way for the country. And I'll go on to say is I think we're becoming the model for economic equality for small towns in America. In the past year, Community First Fund's financed over $25 million in investments and loans. That's a five-fold increase over the prior year. That's $25 million to over 100 businesses and organizations, and 90% of that $25 million went to low-income communities. That creates 750 jobs and housing where people can afford to live. You know, we've done a lot together over the last year, but there's much more to do, because vision does not become a reality, here comes a pitch, without resources. Staircases don't get built without imagination alone. So today, I'm asking you to find that pledge card that you were stumbling on all at lunch today. I'm asking you to find that and step up as a visionary. I'm asking you to ask yourself this one very important question. What's more worthwhile to invest in than human dignity like Fadike, than the future of this region and the rebuilding of this country? I can't think of one. So whatever you give, just know that we have a donor that's going to match whatever you give us here today. We have a donor who believes in human dignity as much as you do. So please give whatever you can, be generous, and together we're going to rebuild that staircase. Thank you.